Hi everyone, I'm Nurali Narayan. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I go to Highlands Ranch High School, and I began my journey with Youth Celebrate Diversity when I was in my sophomore year. Yeah. Um, and since then, it's been an unbelievable impact to be a part of a community that wants to pursue change and inclusion with the DEI work. And that's my story.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rebella Bai. I'm a senior at Delvin High School, and I'm one of the co-chairs this year, along with Nurali. And the whole reason why I'm here is because diversity has always been something that's really big for me my whole life. I'm from a predominantly white community, so diversity isn't something I get to experience very often. So these meetings allow me to come to a community where I feel welcomed and surrounded by people with the same passions as me. So that's my why I'm very why YCD is very important to me. To start, we're gonna go over the general overview of the committee. Um, so to start, it is composed of high schoolers across Colorado that are passionate about diversity and interested in this line of work and planning the conference.
So the board often makes crucial decisions about the conference, including what kind of workshops we want to have, who gets to perform at the beginning and the closing performances, who is going to be our keynote speakers, that's going to be a relatable person, yet a new perspective. So all of those crucial factors that really make up our conference are talked about in our meetings, and our board is in charge of all of those factors.
Our meeting dates are on Mondays from 6 to 7:30 p.m. in the East Building at Cherry Creek High School in one of the classrooms. At our first meeting, there will be directions once you arrive to that building on how to get to that classroom.
So decisions are made in a more unique manner than you may all think. It's not a majority versus minority kind of situation. We do a consensus decision, which is essentially a discussion to figure out what is everyone's choice that everyone kind of agrees with. It may not be your top choice, but everyone will agree with it. And we do that for a couple of reasons to avoid from the whole idea of majority versus minority kind of thing, because oftentimes uh, underrepresented communities, they often have their voices left out. And so with consensus discussions, they allow us to incorporate everyone's voices into our discussions. Rubel, do you want to explain a little bit more how consensus works?
Yeah, sure. So it's a process. So usually we start by just a conversation describing the pros and cons of all of our options, and hopefully that'll allow us to eliminate a few options. And as we proceed, we try to arrive at an option that everyone is happy with, even though it might not be their first choice. And for instance, let's say we arrive at an option that everyone seems to be talking a lot about and everyone seems to be supporting, then by a show of thumbs up and thumbs down is whether you support the option or whether you don't, even though it's not your top choice. And if you are not a fan, if you have your thumbs down, then we just simply ask you to express your feelings and why you do not support the option. And then we continue that process until we eventually arrive to a decision that everyone is comfortable with making.
Yeah, and a lot of these times, like consensus discussions, I find a lot more fun rather than voting because that seems more like work. Because in consensus discussions, you often see perspectives that you may not have even thought about. And so it's really interesting when everyone speaks out about their opinions and why their choice is higher up on their list compared to someone else's. And they're really moving to see because our board, since it's made up with people from all kinds of backgrounds. They all have very unique thoughts and perspectives. And so, with that, it's really interesting and fun to have these kinds of discussions.
And these discussions help us make a lot of important decisions throughout the year. And we do accomplish a lot of things throughout the few months that we meet leading up to the conference. Although, important reminder, what we do isn't just strictly hard work or serious discussions. It's a lot of fun. You're able to gain knowledge and experience and hear different perspectives that you may not have heard before. And it's a truly valuable experience for you as you move on in your life and have a good time while you're here as well.
Right. You make a lot of connections with
Mhm.
people that, you would have never met otherwise. Because these are like students that drive, either like 30 minutes or like an hour just to, have these meetings. So you make lots of lifelong connections and it's a really awesome experience. Next, we'll head on with the overview of the conference, so how our conference works.
So first, to start off the conference, there is a college fair where you're able to go around the world of the gym and see a bunch of different colleges and ask questions to representatives and hopefully realize whether college is for you or not. And if it is, figure out which colleges have the majors you might be interested in or the community that you might be interested in and really get an idea of what values and what colleges have, what you're looking for as you go throughout your college process.
Mhm. And then we go on to our opening ceremony, which is led by our keynote speaker. So we've had a variety of different keynote speakers at our conferences. They might be people you've heard of, or they might not be like anyone you've ever heard of. And they often talk about their experience through their lives regarding topics about diversity and inclusion. And then we go on to our discussion groups.
Yeah, and after hearing from the keynote speaker and some wonderful performances at the diverse performances at the opening ceremony, at the discussion groups, there will be two moderators of the discussion groups, which will be us, the people of the executive committee, and others. And you're able to talk about different topics and different issues that are going on in our world and really hear the different perspectives of all the high school students across Colorado and hopefully find some connections and build relationships and figure out issues in our world and where to go next with them.
Mm-hmm. The discussion groups are honestly one of mine, and I know along with a lot of executive members in the board, it's a lot of people's favorite parts of the conference because you truly get to connect with people on a deeper level. You're literally in a room with them for about like an hour or two, talking about their experiences with certain issues, and um, you get to learn a lot of issues on a deeper level. So discussion groups are super awesome for making those connections and even learning more because throughout this whole process, no one is ever completely educated. We're always growing and learning. And so that's the really cool part of that experience. And then we go on to workshops. And this is a really fun and really cool opportunity to get to pick whatever option you want. So workshops like range from a yoga class to jiu-jitsu or a women's choice and immigrants experience. There are so many options for workshops. I believe we have around 50, maybe more options for what workshop students want to pick at the conference. And honestly, it's so amazing to learn about things that you thought you knew on a surface level. But when you go to these workshops, these are like professionals and experts talking about certain issues. Even some student-led workshops are there. And so it's a super cool experience to learn more about whatever topic you go to.
Yeah, workshops are my personal favorites at the conference just because there's such a wide variety of options that no matter what your interests are, you're bound to find one that you like.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the workshops, we go into our closing ceremonies. You're able to hear some more diverse performances and that are very entertaining and fun to watch. We also present our Human Rights Award, which is an award presented to an organization, a local organization that we believe deserves recognition for the work they do for our community and what they represent. Um, and yeah, Ronnie, anything else with the closing ceremony?
Right before the closing ceremony, we do have a quick, brief school meeting. So that's
Mhm.
where we're going to kind of clutter up with people from your school and really talk about what all you've learned in during the conference. And it sounds cheesy, but people really do pick up lots of amazing things from our conference and implement them into their schools or their district. I remember after the conference, there was Mountain Vista, I believe, that hosted their conference of their own, which was kind of a three-way with Thunder Ridge, Highlands Ranch High School, which is where I go, and Mountain Vista. And it was just us like grouped together. And it was really cool to see like another conference simply inspired by the work that we do here. So the
Mhm.
work we do here like really does have a huge impact, and it leads students to make other big differences and changes into their communities.
Yeah, the school meetings are such a great opportunity to make sure that what we're able to learn at the conference and experience, we're able to take it back to our communities and actually implement them, so that not only are we gaining knowledge, but we're using our knowledge and making a difference.
Yeah. Next, we can kind of go into how we apply. So I'm sure if you all were able to join this meeting, you were able to figure out our website or an email or something, but you can visit ycdiversity.org and click sign up for YCD, and that will take you through a whole application process, and they are due by August 31st. So make sure you get as many of your friends who are interested in this kind of work to apply as well, because it's a super amazing opportunity to get to know people and build a community that drives change in our communities.
And if you like, you're also able to submit a quick video explaining why you'd like to be a part of the executive committee, along with your application.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to put the link, YC Diversity. Hopefully that's correct. Okay. Yeah, I mean, pretty simple to remember, but you guys have that if not.
Yes, August 31st by midnight.
Are there any questions about anything? I know we covered a lot. That's a good question. How many students are on the board? I would say they roughly range from 20 to 30. What's our max number? Do you remember?
I think it's in the 30 realm. I think that's as
Okay.
much as we fit.
Yeah.
But usually it's in like the 20 area. How many students we
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Since I didn't go too much in depth about why I joined YCD, I'll just elaborate on that until you guys come up with any questions that you have.
There's
So like
one question in the
Ravel said,
chat.
hmm? Oh,
Is the
is the
application
application
competitive?
competitive? I didn't even see that. Go ahead.
It's not super competitive. Usually there's about 10 students who aren't able to make the board. I believe that's how it was last year. So your odds if you apply are pretty good as long as you have a strong application and good intentions on why you want to join.
Mm-hmm. Really, you just have to be super candid with your application. That's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you're passionate about the stuff that you do and why you want to join this organization, your odds are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We have had to let a couple people go if there's like 40 people applying. We don't want to make our board too big, but yeah. Do I
Can I
have
miss
to
every
attend
meeting?
every single meeting? Can I miss meetings if I have conflicts?
Yeah, so attendance is pretty important here with the executive committee just because we want you there as far as many conversations and discussions and important discussions that we hold and important decisions. We don't want you to miss any. But if you have a conflict that's very pressing and you're not able to make it, we're open ears and we're very willing to work with you. We just make sure that it's open-ended communication. You let us know in advance and you're not consistently missing meetings.
Right. And you can communicate that to us through the app GroupMe, which is how we communicate our meeting recaps or any reminders if there's like the MLK march that we want to go to, like anything like that, then all our reminders will be sent out through GroupMe. So you can tell us beforehand if you have a conflict, but we prefer that you miss only up to 2, at the maximum 3 meetings, just because we only have 14 meetings until the conference. It's very a quick turnaround. It doesn't feel like that much because the conference feels like, oh, it's in, January. It's not that far away, but it goes by super fast. When do meetings start and when are they over?
If I'm not mistaken, they start at 6 p.m. and go until usually 7:30.
Yeah.
And then there is one meeting during the year. I believe we go till 8 or 8:30 because we are discussing our workshops. Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And our first meeting starts on September 18th. So you'll have directions on how to get to Cherry Creek and the specific building. What months, what date do they start and when are they over? So yeah, they start September 18th and we skip obviously like the winter break portion and then we come back ready to go on January 8th. Yeah. And then the conference finally happens on February 3rd, which is a Saturday. So make sure that date especially is free because you don't want like a competition or anything on that date. That is literally what we're working towards.
And there's a few Mondays in there where we don't have meetings, like MLK Day and Thanksgiving break and winter break,
Yeah.
leading up to finals. So it's not every Monday, but it's most.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, wonderful. If there's no more questions, we appreciate everyone for coming to the info session. We hope that you like what you heard and you're excited to join and submit your application. Just one final reminder, midnight, August 31st is when they're due. And thank you everyone for attending tonight.
Yep. If you have any questions, we'll stick around for a couple minutes after.
All right, thank you guys.